So today I want to continue with, I've been doing these sort of working on a 1-4-5 chord, whether it's in the key of E or A or G. I'm going to stick with G right now because I think in the key of G, first of all, for those of you that are maybe in the beginning stages or even intermediate for sure, a G and a C and a D is very doable, okay? But what a lot of people don't know, especially in this first position that we're going to sort of stick with today, is there's a lot of places you can go just within a G, a C, and a D. Okay, so some of these we've explored a little bit, but I want to go a little bit deeper today and show you some other places you can go. I'm also going to show you something called harmonics, which is a little bit more advanced, but I think you can grok it if I really outline it correctly, because harmonics are fun and they do take a touch. You know, we talk a lot about the 4 T's: touch, tone, time, and taste, all of which are important. But what I'm really trying to accomplish with these kind of lessons is I wanted to get you guys to have a vocabulary of little, I call them connective tissue licks, you know, licks that take you from a G to a C, up to D. And sometimes these licks are a series of hammer-ons, or sometimes they're a walk-up or a walk-down. So what I want to get to today is I'm gonna go ahead and play through a couple of things. And honest to God, I don't know what I'm gonna do until I do it, because you know a lot of this stuff is sort of second nature to me, and I have to always I look at Jason sometimes like, what do you think? Does that work? And he's like, yeah, I want to know that. If my buddy Jason's interested, usually it means I'm teaching something that's worth learning. Honest to God. So let me just play a little bit, and then we'll see what seems worthy of passing on to you. Okay, so here we go. So what I was doing there is I had obviously a series of little hammer-ons and things that I do this stuff just off the cuff kind of when I'm playing, but I want to break it down for you so that you can add it to your repertoire or your quiver of little vocabulary licks that you can pull out any time, especially in the key of G. You can also use this stuff in other keys, as we'll get to, and then lastly I'm going to get to harmonics. That'll be our mystical ending of this little lesson. So one of the main things I want to incorporate in this one, which I haven't taught you yet, is when you go from the G, and in this case I'm doing the big cowboy G. We've discussed this a few times. I'm just adding my third finger to the D note of the B string, 3rd fret, and I like that voicing a lot. There's other times I'd like just a regular G, and the reason being I might want to go to G7. So, this has more of a kind of a folky sound to it, right? And it allows you to do that kind of stuff, which again is important to have in your, kind of G vocabulary chest. So, for instance, if I'm wanting to do sort of a rambling on my mind kind of rhythm, I call, what that really is it's almost as if you're going from a G to a C. Oh, drop that pick. Edit! Or don't. Dropping the pick, that happens. How do you like my new shirt? So from the G to the, what I'm doing is I'm doing an A minor 7th form, if you know that. 2nd finger, 2nd fret on the D, 1st finger, 1st fret on the B. And what I'm doing is I'm coming off my G chord. And this is a really valuable little lick. Rather than having to go to the C all the time, you can just go like this. And I'm not losing the bottom end at all. I've still got that bottom end going. the easy strum kind of thing, right? Well, I ride on a mail train, baby. Can't buy me a thrill. Bob Dillon. So that's a really great little lick to have. And then the other thing I did, and I noticed in my first go around, is I went from this C and I moved it up 2 frets to this D. And I like this one because it has that kind of suspended, almost like Simon Garfunkel kind of sound, isn't it? And all you got to do is take your C chord, you don't have to do anything, just move it up 2. So that's going to be an alternate for the D. Instead of using that D, because what we're really discussing in this particular lesson is different voicings, alternate versions of the 1-4-5 chord. 1 being a G, 4 being a C, and 5 being a D. You know, how many different ways can we do that and still be in the first position? Well, it turns out there's a lot of different ways, and this is one of them. So to go from a G voicing that we were doing, let's do easy strum. So we're doing that little A minor 7 form, little shape. Then we're going to go to a big cowboy C, all the way up. Kind of got a song going, right? Now you'll notice on the C, in case you don't know, I did, instead of doing a regular C like this, which is, again, fine, but what I did was I took my 3rd finger and picked up that low G note, the E3, tucked my pinky under the C note. This is the same here. You know, the 2nd finger, 2nd fret of the D, 1st finger, 1st fret of the B. So you still got a C, except now you got the bass note. A little warmer, a little fatter. And you can also utilize that on that D version I showed you. Just go up 2 frets. I like that sound. Okay, now here, just to illustrate what I'm doing here, I'm going to play the really, really basic versions. Then I'm going to go into what I just showed you. So, and by the way, there's nothing wrong with the basic versions. It worked really well in the folk scare of the 60s, so hey. But sometimes you want to mix it up. Okay, now I'm going to change it up. I'm going to walk up to the C. Now I'm going to go to that really cool D. Showing off a little bit there. Okay, so that's some different things you can do in G. And by the way, that last all those little hammer-ons and everything I was doing, I'm just working off of this. Just working off that G chord. Spelling out the G chord is all I'm doing. You can get salty with it. But all that stuff I'm going to save for another day because I don't want to give you too much in one lesson. The last thing I want to show you, and I promised I would, is we're talking about G, C to D, right? Well, if you do a harmonic, and this is, if you're not familiar with harmonics, don't worry about it, but it's kind of cool. To get a harmonic, you lay your finger on top of the string, but you don't fret. Kind of like slide playing, which I've given a few lessons on. So what you do is you go all the way up to the 12th. So this is a G chord, right? That's a bar G chord. But But you don't have to worry about that. All you need to know is that these notes are part of it. Okay? So what I'm doing is, I don't know if you can really see that, but I'm just resting my third finger on the 12th fret, in this case, 13th fret actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12th fret. So you have to go over the fret though, not so much. You don't really have to go over the fret at all. You can just go right here. But it takes some practice. And then the C version would be, which is on the 5th fret, and the D version is on the 7th fret. So what that sounds like, it's kind of cool. So sometimes you'll hear me doing this. If I'm playing along, I'll do it. G, right? Why is that important? Well, I'm a big fan of mixing things up and adding the special sauce, I call it, when you're playing with someone else. So if you're playing with a couple of guitars, sometimes all you want to do, you got somebody playing a rhythm, you could just play this and let it ring. And this is a huge lesson in being an accompanist or a session player, whatever you want to call it, or just playing with another guitar player. I think as guitarists, quite often we overplay. I know I do. And sometimes it's enough if you've got somebody playing a rhythm and you got a second guitar, just do this. The other guy's playing the rhythm, right? And let it ring, man. Or just go. You'll find that it's going to dynamically make a song far more interesting than always being in there with the guy that's holding down. Whoever's chopping the wood, let him chop wood, but you can add little sort of adds to it. And by the way, there is another way to do harmonics. You can do it like this. Especially works well on electric guitar. But that's definitely a lesson for another day. We were watching a buddy of Jason's that does all that, the tapping and the harmonics and all. That really works well on electric guitar because you've got so much power going through. But that's something we can discuss on another day. So thanks, as always, thanks for subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate it. I love hearing back from y'all. So please hit me up with any comments you may have, and I'll get back to you, I promise. We'll see you down the road.